Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So we're going to give you an update on Brent's truck here today and show you what we've accomplished here in the past couple weeks, months, however long it's been since you've seen a video on this truck. So we got a lot of stuff put on here. We have the bumper temporarily mounted. We did the temporary mounting of the bumper because we needed to figure out where the transmission cooler was going to be so that we could cut the lines. Now, you don't want to be just putting the lines on and just running the fluid through it and then cut it and then put the tranny on or the tranny cooler on. So it's easier just mount it all up, mock it up, make sure it's right. You know, we're going to pull the bumper back off so that we can get the front end put on, and we still have to put a lot of stuff on this bumper yet, so it's not even ready to stay on. So we wanted to get the tranny cooler mounted in here to get the lines where they needed to be so we can just hang the tranny cooler off when we take the bumper back off, which is no big deal. So we got that all done. We had a video on getting the doors all put back together. We have the windows in and we have everything fixed in here. We did have a problem where the windows actually were not working for some strange reason. And it turned out that there was grass in the driver's window switch. So I ended up having to take the whole window switch apart, buttons off, case off, get to the contact area, and it was full of grass. Brent, mows grass, so I'm not surprised that there was grass in this window switch. But anyway, so thinking we had electrical issues in here, it ended up just being that the switch was bad. So pulled it all apart, cleaned it, put it all back together, and the lock actuators operate as they should. The windows work as they should. Not everything is in the interior yet. There's actually nothing more in here than a dash and some sound deadening at the moment. But we wanted to try to get this thing ready to run, so to speak. So we're just mainly focusing on the drivability aspect of this truck right now. So we went ahead, we primed the oil system. We primed the fuel system. We filled the engine up with oil. We filled the cooling system up. We filled the power steering system up. We filled up the transmission. We checked the transfer case. We checked the rear differential. We checked the front differential. So we're going to do a full service underneath this truck once it's on the lift and able to move under its own power. We're going to put new oil in the front differential as it's empty. We're going to service the rear differential, take the cover off, clean everything out of it, put the cover back on, and we're also going to change the transfer case fluid. So that'll all be stuff that'll be easier to do on the lift. So we'll be covering that later. However, the brakes are all bled. We do have brakes in here. Everything's operating, it seems like, as it should. We don't have any leaks anywhere. So we're going to go ahead and I think we're going to try to get this thing started today. Now, we don't know how well it's going to start because it's been sitting for approximately 8 years. So the last truck that we did, which was Mike and Luke's truck, it had sat for about 3 years or so, and it was not happy about starting. The truck we did before that, which was the gray F-250, it sat for probably the same amount of time, 3 or 4 years. It fought us a little bit on startup, but that was a chip issue. But once we figured out the chip was screwed up, it's fired right off like it had shut off the day before. So I'm hoping that this truck will start like it had just been shut off yesterday. And I know that that's wishful thinking because it is a 7.3, but that's what I want to happen. So we're going to try this out today. Like I said, we went through all the checks. Everything is good. We have brakes. The engine's all corrected. We did run into a problem with the flex plate. I'm going to show that to you. So we have the flex plate here. So we ended up pulling the transmission back out of this truck. And it was because there's a lip on this ring. If you see, the ring is flush the whole way around the stamp until you get to here. So there is a actual manufacturing defect with this flex plate. So we ended up pulling the transmission, changing out the flex plate to one that was straight and true. And we ended up finding that because the starter decided to die. So I pulled the inspection cover off to check out and see why the starter wasn't working, to see if maybe it had jammed up on something or something stupid. And here the starter had just failed completely. And I did end up getting it to spin over once, and I saw that the ring gear was doing this. And I have a little video to show you that. So it would just kind of like wobble as it went around. Don't know how long it's been like that. Don't know how long it was like that. Don't know if it's been changed. So we didn't run into any problems. So, it could affect the balance. It could affect how it hits the starter as it goes around. Could affect the starter engagement, and we just don't want to deal with it. It's easier to pull it down before everything's put back together 100%. So we went ahead, we put a new flex plate in it, we put a new starter in it again, and hopefully we won't have any issues with starting this truck. But everything's been checked out. It's been sitting here with fluids in it for a couple days now, and we don't have any leaks underneath it. We've turned it over a bunch of times, so we know that nothing's locked up. It's got oil in the system. So we're going to go ahead and peel the masking tape off the intake here, but I'm going to show you an overview of the engine to show you what we got going on in here. We have our nice painted intercooler pipes here. We have a nice little bracket here that's anodized very, very close to the same color. We have the painted coolant pipe from Michael Lucio. And then we have all of our little odds and ends done in here. We have the Marty's fuel system that we had a couple videos on that I had actually changed up a little bit to make it a little bit more my liking. We got the Hydro Boost here with a new reservoir, new master cylinder, and all new brake lines. We've got some new batteries in here, new battery cables, and we have everything situated the way that it needs to be situated in here. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing fired up. Hopefully it starts up pretty quick and doesn't give us any issues. So here's our moment of truth. You're going to go inside, turn the key on, let the glow plugs warm for maybe a minute. We'll see what happens here. So we got fuel pressure, that's good. We're going to let these glow plugs warm up a little bit, and then we'll see what happens. Well, let's give it a shot. Haven't made oil pressure yet. It's cranking pretty fast yet.
Are you still there, Shell? Okay, because for some reason your video, I don't have your video anymore.
That started up beautiful. That's the vacuum pump. Because it doesn't have anything, so I just got it plugged off. Well, that's running nice. That's idling nice. Hey, hold your thumb on this. You can see the truck's running. That's a great thing. We didn't do any editing for changing out how this thing started, except for maybe speeding it up. So that truck started up wonderful, and that's what we like to see. So wanted to give you guys an update on Brent's truck. So appreciate you watching. Thank you very much, and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep getting updates on Brent's truck.